Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a preview for the 2020 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Sorry it's coming a little late, but I did want to get it out tonight rather than tomorrow. So it gives me a little time to do other things. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the show index just so you guys know what we'll be talking about in this video. I'm going to go over course information, or courses information really, course history, recent form. We'll review the 2019 DK page, go over grass stats and swing stats. If you've been with me in my other preview videos, this is not uncommon. Go over the same information basically. Right away, we'll throw up the course information. It really isn't a surprise to anyone that's seen this tournament before. There are 3 golf courses. It's going to be 3 rounds of golf. The people who do make the cut will play Pebble Beach a second time. And Pebble Beach is really no stranger to us. We've seen this tournament is played here every single time, and it's these 3 golf courses every single time. So you have Pebble Beach Golf Link, Spyglass Hill Golf Course, and Monterey Peninsula Country Club. Monterey is a par 71, the other 2 are par 72s, and they're all around 6,800 yards. They're short golf courses. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily easy, because it all depends on weather, and wind is obviously one of the bigger variables in golf. The windier it is, the tougher the conditions. That's just a given. But the other thing to also include is temperature, because still golfing when it's cold out or colder is difficult to golf in. Usually this golf course, you see golfers with stocking caps. I mean, I shouldn't say usually. It's not uncommon to see golfers in stocking caps. It can get cold. You'll see them in sweaters like we saw during Torrey and the Waste Management Open as well. Although that was more in the desert in the morning, it was going to be cold. But here, I mean, it's a bit north. It's just south of San Francisco. So if it does get windy, it's going to be cold. Pay attention to temperatures, honestly. Other than that, Monterey is slightly easier than the other 2 golf courses. Spyglass, I think last year or the year before, averaged more difficult than Pebble Beach. And really, they're kind of located near each other, but they're still far enough apart where wind can be completely different at one course than another. So that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, the grass type is POA. It's primarily POA. There might be other strains in there, but this is dominated by POA. So we'll look at POA stats. And that's all I have for course information. So we can go ahead, get into the spreadsheet. I have course history. I'm sorry, it's not course history. It's tournament history. These are just finishing positions at this tournament over the last 6 years. And I'm going to go ahead and take out the golfers. Well, first of all, take a snapshot, whatever you need to do of what this will look like. I'm going to get rid of golfers who've only golfed this once or 0 times, just so we can kind of trim the fat a little bit and really get a good idea of golfers who do play well here on average. Paul Casey, he's a pretty expensive guy in DraftKings this week. Average is pretty good. I would say if he gets top 5, he's gonna return investment on his price. Other than that, I mean, if you don't forecast him to do well, I think he's gonna be a good play. I'm not gonna play him heavy like I did with Webb and JT last week, but I'll probably own him somewhere between 10 to 15%. Scott Stallings is an interesting golfer. I really didn't look at any of his stats, honestly, like for 2017, 2018, or 2019, whatever he was doing leading into the tournament. We can go ahead and look at that during the recent form part of this, and just see what kind of recent form he was going into these tournaments with. Obviously, course history or tournament history looks pretty good. But the guy I really want to focus on, the guy that's in my thumbnail, is Jason Day. I think Jason Day, from all that I have heard, he took a little bit of time off at the end of last season to really fully recover so he could be ready for a full season this year. If you don't know much about Jason Day, he kind of has back issues at times. I don't really think there's anything else other than vertigo that he battled a while ago. But yeah, I think it was back issue, primarily back issues, and that's what his last injury he was recovering from. So I think he's fine with that. And his last outing was not bad, so we'll see that also when we get into recent form. But Jason Day is definitely my favorite player. If we take away this 75th place, which I think is a Monday, or not Monday, I'm sorry, made cut did not finish, which is difficult to do here. I think, yeah, I can't remember. I think, yeah, he made the cut, but the rules, even with a 3-round tournament, if you weren't inside the top, at this time it was the top 70 in ties, but it also went to 78. So if there were more, put it this way, if there were more than 78 golfers on the 3rd round of golf, it would cut to the top 60. So I think that's what ended up happening. That's why he missed the cut. So go ahead and undo that. But even with that finish, he has really good course history. Followed by Jordan Spieth, who I'll play some, but I really don't trust him at all. He has looked awful. I don't think I'll play much of him. Brandon Grace, Kevin Stadler. I mean, Kevin Stadler, I think it reminds me of Colt Knost from last week. He's retiring, Colt Knost is. Kevin Stadler, I don't think he has too many more years left on his. I think he has a medical exemption. That, or he may have played into the tournament somehow. Like sponsored tournament, or sponsor. He might have been sponsored, I should say. I don't know. But I won't be touching Kevin Stadler. Phil Mickelson is interesting. The fact that he's obsessed with hitting bombs and not really accuracy is troubling. His recent form looks awful, and you will see that in the recent form tab. But I don't like Phil this week. I'll play some, but that's more or less fear of missing out than anything. Dustin Johnson's another interesting play. You know, a 45th last year. I don't remember really what was going on, but he did finish 2nd in Saudi Arabia. So he played in that tournament last week. And it was kind of like a ho-hum 2nd place. Didn't look like he had his best stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like this 45th position or finishing position last year doesn't look good, you know, when we review everything. But honestly, Dustin Johnson is the type that is going to break, you know, any mold that I might create, or, you know, from past results of other golfers. He is an elite golfer. Anything is possible with him. So play him at your leisure. I will refrain from playing a lot of him. I think Jason Day is my clear-cut number 1. And then DJ and Paul Casey are really close to each other, and Patrick Cantlay, I should say. Those 3 golfers really close to each other. So my ownership percentage is probably going to look something like 50% Jason Day, and then I'll sprinkle these guys in maybe 20% each. I think you want that kind of exposure because most of the elite golfers have done well at this golf tournament. So I suppose I can try to quickly go through the rest of these. I really don't see anyone. I guess Kevin Streelman, maybe. That's actually not bad. You take that away, he's up here just behind Jordan Spieth. Of course, he did miss the cut, so you got to put him there. But most recent finishes here at the tournament look pretty good. So Kevin Streelman might be a good play. Same with Scott Piercy. Good recent form from last week. Didn't finish, you know, strong, but still had a good tournament. That might be worth something heading into this tournament. Adam Hadwin, he has really good POA splits, and I don't mind him. We'll see what his price is. I can't remember, but you see the rest of the golfers. I'm not going to continue talking about them. We'll go ahead and get into the recent form. I'll go straight to the 2019 recent form. And so we can see Scott Stallings. That was one of the golfers I had talked about. Let's look at him during recent form. Actually, let's just do that right now. a 7th place finish from the year before, came in with a missed cut. It's notable. Okay. Scott Stallings again, but he came in with a 23rd finish. So he's kind of all over the place. I think he got Susie 14th here, and he didn't play the week before. So it's all over the map with him, which means which is a good thing if you were thinking about playing him, because it doesn't matter what his finishing position was from the week before. No, I don't think so. Here's the 2019 recent form tab. The optimal lineup was 50,000, and honestly, that's more of an eyeball. That's putting these 4 golfers together and then just finishing positions. I don't have points for any of these golfers, but the $5 GPP winning lineup had 49,800, and it was the top 4 golfers. So just look at the prices. Then you come down to Brandon Harkins, who was 7,000, and Julian Etelane, who was 6,100. I mean, that's pretty good. You know, that was bare minimum, basically 61. I believe these 2 golfers, Max Homa and Scott Langley, would have scored more. I mean, Brandon Harkins, I think, had 83 points. But yeah, either way, the thing to look at, tournament history. You want some. And good tournament history goes a long way. Obviously, we have Siwoo here and Scott Langley. Scott Langley, I don't know. I don't know how he finished up here. Siwoo obviously is boom or bust. But yeah, having good tournament history and then also playing the year before, pretty strong indicator. You could also say missing the cut before isn't a big thing, as long as you, well, either didn't play or you got a top 20, essentially. That was for 2019. We can go through 2018. Again, you want some tournament history. We got a couple guys here that we don't have tournament history for. I feel like Paul Casey probably has golfed that tournament before. Obviously, he's been at Pebble Beach before. I'm just going to keep rattling off befores because that's the only word I know how to use. Anyways, Paul Casey has golfed Pebble Beach in his past because of the U.S. Open being there. Well, now twice, but for his career, maybe even 3 times. Yeah. Anyways, he's played the golf course. He knows it. Him not having tournament history is kind of a misnomer. I don't think that really applies. I feel like you still put tournament history here. Again, last year finishes. This time it's kind of all over the place, but you still have 4 of them that have a top 20 finish for the year before. And then this is different. There are no missed cuts here, except for, you know, we get closer down to the bottom of the top 10. So it's kind of a little all over the place. So 2019, 2018, yeah, it's not a really good indicator of other than just not playing here the week before. But yeah, here now it's kind of mixed. Tournament history's kind of gone away. I think that was John Rahm's first tournament here. Feel like Woodland had been here before, at least to Pebble Beach, and Mackenzie Hughes probably has not. So you really had 2 true rookies who had not played here before. Both of them had tournament history, or I'm sorry, recent form. They played the week before. Is that true for our other guys? Patrick Rogers, yep, a miscut. We don't really see anything there. But yeah, tournament history, playing the year before. Don't have that many top 20s, but really close with the 21st place. So again, something to look at. And obviously my course history goes, or tournament history goes back to 2013. Now we're kind of running into golfers that probably hadn't played here before. Bill Haas probably had at that time. Justin Rose probably had. Hiroshi, not. He definitely did not. And Brooks Koepka did not, because he kind of came on the scene. So around this time. So again, 2 rookies. 1 guy played the week before. I'm not sure what Hiroshi did, but I guess for the golfers that have not played here that might have a name or, you know, something like that, we might want to consider. Well, Brooks Koepka obviously had won a tournament at Tournaments of Champions. So he probably came on in 2015, really. I don't remember when he started, but you guys can look that information up. Again, tournament history. We have a couple top 20s, some missed cuts, and then we had some tournament information before. It's worth noting that this in 2015, the Farmers Insurance actually preceded this tournament as opposed to the Waste Management every single year. Even if we go to 2014, you're going to see Waste Management the tournament before. But either way, tournament history, last year's result, and then it's just all over the place with last week. I don't know really what to make of it. Last year result, yes, yet again. So we want golfers who have golfed this course before, and primarily from last year, and mostly top 20s or around top 20. You could consider this 4 golfers, you know, inside the top 6 that had nearly top 20, top 22. And obviously you could see that most of these tournaments, you have 3 here in the top 7. Not so much here, but really close down here, 11th place. You know, you had 3 golfers. So top 20 is definitely going to be something to look at 2017. A bit of an anomaly. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to leave that at. You know, looking at recent form. Actually, this, I will say this. Now we can start looking at recent form stats, because we finally have enough tournaments. If we went back to 2020, these 2 tournaments don't so much matter, but now we have 5 weeks of recent form that can, you know, provide this average. So let's look over that really quick. I think just as long as it's not terrible, you know, that's pretty awful. But you also have it here. So don't be afraid of playing these guys at 68, 70 in that range of recent form averages, because we see at least one. So obviously don't play a lot of them, but don't be afraid to play them. Yeah, here looks pretty bad. And yeah, I mean, doesn't look like you need the greatest recent form coming in here. We have a bunch of missed cuts here at the top, which is obviously going to bring down the averages. Don't be afraid of using somebody who has good recent form and good POA splits, because that's what these golfers are. Jason Day, Brandt Snedeker, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson. I don't remember if Patrick Reed is. Sure. Jordan Spieth has good POA splits. John Rahm does. Gary Woodland does. So yeah, it's good recent form with POA splits. That looks like a pretty good one to use. Let's review the 2019 DK page. I think that's what I had next on the list. First thing I want to point out, the tee time in the golf course, I don't think it matters. And this isn't like, you know, Farmers Insurance Open where you wanted to target the South course, although again there was a North course winner this time, just like last year. Same goes with like the American Express. People really wanted to target golfers at La Quinta, although La Quinta did do pretty well when it came to top 20 finishes. I think there were the majority of them there. It's pretty close. It looks like Monterey Peninsula really is your best bet when it comes to finding, you know, kind of higher up in the top 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 13 golfers. Pebble Beach has 1, 2, 3, 4. And Spyglass Hill has 1, 2, 3. So maybe avoid golfers at Spyglass. We actually don't even have anybody that's notable that started at Spyglass. I mean, these guys really aren't notable golfers. Not like a Phil Mickelson or a Paul Casey. That's something to look into. I mean, Spyglass is supposed to be the hardest of the 2 courses. If you start out pretty slow, maybe it's difficult to get back. Maybe. Not positive on that, but we'll look more into that like when it comes to lineup construction. When you look at the odds, we got a couple, you know, high odds guys, but for the most part, I wouldn't even say for the most part. It's an even split between high odds guys and low odds guys. So definitely take that into consideration. Value looks pretty decent. Actually looks really good, other than Kevin Streelman. The rest of them basically over 1 or pretty close to just being under it. Course history. Obviously, we said we wanted some. That's pretty decent. Recent form, pretty decent. We can go ahead and now hide all of this because we don't really need to see any of this anymore. I'm also going to hide this information over here. Okay, so now we just have the stats up here, and this is all I wanted to look at. When it comes to POA splits, obviously, I have 2019 POA splits right here. Kind of varied, but for the most part, decent. And really, we had 2 tournaments that would have made up the 2019 POA splits, just like we do for this week's tournament. If I were to sort like this, it's kind of I mean, doesn't look good, you know, when it comes to missing the cut or just not finishing well. But I mean, 3 missed cuts compared to 4 top 10s. And then the other 2 golfers here, not bad. I would just kind of take them out. But being a high price guy, Patrick Reed and Tony Finau, this isn't what you want from those golfers. So maybe 2019 we just don't really care about. If we went to overall POA, Jim Naus or Knaus, wherever he's from, I'm not sure, but this is just forget about that. We do want to look at Adam Scott because he is known for being good on POA. That's not good. Dustin Johnson, not good. Tony Finau, not good. But then you have Paul Casey and Jason Day, 2 and 4. And then you also have Phil. So this is your top. Here's your top 20 from top to bottom. The what I have highlighted. It actually doesn't look good. I'm not gonna lie. Some of these golfers, though, I don't really know. I mean, if you look at Adam Svensson and see, unfortunately, I don't have the amount of events next to the overall POA because I would definitely take out 1, 2, 3 events. You know, I would not include any of that. So Svensson would be out. Not to say that like Snedeker, that's not good. Jimmy Walker, that's not good. JB Holmes, that's not good. And Charlie Hoffman, that's also not good. You know, these are 4 for this tournament, 4 powerhouses, 4 bigger names, I should say. Not so much powerhouses, but golfers that you would hope to do well. Same with Matthew Fitzpatrick. That doesn't look good. So, man, do we really look at POA splits? I think it's difficult not to. I would want to. Huh. Well, how about this? So we're looking top to bottom. Yeah, it still doesn't get better. I was like, let's look at everything, but look at all the red here. I mean, I can't even compare it. Like, okay, if they have bad overall, do they have good 2019? No, because Scott Langley kind of disproves that. So does Chris Stroud down here. Man, this might just be a bucket. My bucket score system or the bucket system, like strictly going off of last year finish position and last week finishing position. So that's not fully true. I mean, if we look at stats here, again, if you were with me in the last week's preview, I have these sorted by their PGA rank at that time of the year. This isn't like in the field what their ranking is, and this obviously isn't their score like I have for the 2020 DK page. If I were to go ahead and sort this tee to green, we're going to see it starts at 7. Doesn't even start at 1. But we can look, you know, okay, we have this sorted. This means these guys are better in the field than the rest of the guys. So here are your top 20. Sorry, that's what I'm getting at. Top 20 tee to green stats. 4 guys, top 20. 3 of them, top 10. A lot of missed cuts. So tee to green, it doesn't look like it's really the greatest stat to go by. Off the tee, not so much. We have a few top 10s there as well, but not a lot. And we still have quite a bit of missed cuts. Approach, approach doesn't look good either. Like, it just, you see all these golfers up here. So what do we go by, honestly? Around the green, again, like, putting. We have more guys that are in the top 10 for putting. But usually what I like to do is, so Brian Gay, I like to mix the POA with putting. That's not good. That's not good. That's good. That's Jason Day. He's also known for being a good putter. That's not bad. But oh my god, putting and poor overall POA splits. Maybe that's what we use. I don't know. I know this is just 2019, so this is just a snapshot of. It's not even so much a snapshot. These are the stats leading up to the tournament. That's what I like to look at. I like looking at snapshot of that round of golf and then comparing it to how people look going into it. Unless you do an analysis, like a comparison between the two, it's just irrelevant to me. Proximity, still nothing. Green and reg. It looks better. Maybe we go with green and reg. I know these greens at Pebble Beach are kind of small, some of the smallest on tour, but it still doesn't. Okay, so you can get 5 top 20s maybe, but then there are a lot of missed cuts that are looming behind it. Birdie or better. It's just all over the place, honestly. It's gonna be, you're gonna have to do your best in constructing lineups, trying to be. I guess my advice is you're gonna want to try your hardest of just being non-traditional when it comes to making these lineups. I don't see anything that's leaps off the page that says anything about who you want. Basically, I think I'm just limiting my exposure to who I'm playing. I might even do a cascade lineup because I know I like Jason Day. That's the one thing I do know. I do like him a lot at this tournament. Everyone else, like I said, I think I'm gonna go strictly by bucket score because this right here is so telling. This is just nothing but 2s and 1s. And I actually made an update and I forgot to update this. These 2s are actually 1s and the 1s are actually 2. I know that's confusing for some of you guys, but I think I'm going strictly by last year's score and then maybe looking at last week. We have a couple 5s in here, but most of them are 1s and 3s. So that's why I like doing the bucket score, because when you can't find a stat that you can stick to, let's analyze other pieces of information that seem to be telling. And that's what seems to be telling. Playing here or not playing here the year before, definitely one of the higher results as in finishing inside the top 10. But I think that's it. We got through the whole show. I believe the show index, I'm just going to pull it up one more time, make sure I went over everything. Yeah. We went recent form, 2019 DK, grass stats, swing stats. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to go to the 2020 DK page. What am I thinking? Okay. Well, I guess from what I was just talking about, I can't really go off of anything with POA. I thought POA would definitely be one of the main contributors prior to really looking at any of this. I don't have starting course or which hole they start on yet. That'll be during the lineup construction video, which I'll put out Wednesday. I also don't have everyone's odds, so that's another thing. But I think, maybe top 10 POA. This is obviously a stat I didn't have in the 2019 DK. I also didn't have how many POA events as well. It might be worth looking at some of this to find some golfers like Charles Schwartzel. I don't really like Charles at all, really. I'm trying to think of how you're supposed to say his name. I forget if it's Charles or if it's Charles. I think it's Charles. Anyways, we had some golfers here that 4 events is enough for me to consider that to be pretty successful. Obviously one of them was inside the top 10. This doesn't look good, and this doesn't look good either. But I don't know. I think it might be worthy. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you guys, honestly. I do like Cam Champ. 8,800, and he's a last year 4 indicated by the color. I'm not sure. I guess the one thing we can look at, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and hide this information. I should probably, yeah, I'll hide this stuff too. So we can look at birdie or better, because I think this might actually be a good one to go off of. It looked like nearly, I mean, it was like 4 golfers from the 2019 DK page finished inside the top 10 that had good birdie or better stats. So it's definitely worth looking at some of these players here. So what was it when we went to the 2019 page? So Phil, oh, you know what? I want to keep this salary. All right, so we got Phil, 9,600, pretty decent, birdie or better. Paul Casey, not so much. Jason Day, yes. Siwoo wasn't very expensive, so that's something to look at as well. Scott Piercy, kind of in the middle of the pack. Lucas Glover in the middle of the pack. Brian Gay, kind of in the middle of the pack as well. It's a pretty good team, if I say so myself. I don't think you can fit every one of them, because I think Scott Stallings wouldn't have been able to. If he was 7,100, I'm sure this wouldn't work out. It's 51,600, so just trying to see if you can go by some kind of, I mean, Matt Every being that low price, you could obviously fit him in. So if I took away Scott Piercy, what are we off? Is this 50,000 on the button? Yes, it is. So that's 50,000 on the button. 3 lower price guys, 3 higher price guys, all with good birdie or better stats. So I might make a lineup like that, especially adding a little bit of POA into it as well. Yeah, I mean, what was it? These guys here. I think we went with Brian Gay, Matt Every. I already forgot who was the last guy. Michael Thompson? Yeah, it was Michael Thompson. So not good overall POA stats here with decent birdie or better. And then you had good POA stats here with decent birdie or better. So yeah, it's gonna be a crap show. I don't know really what to tell you guys. We're looking at this together. That was just, again, that was just a 2019 DK page. It's not end all be all. We can look at the top stats here. A lot of these names don't surprise me up at the top. I'm really not going to talk about everyone, so I'm not going to give a full in-depth analysis here of some of these stats, but I think what we wanted to look at green and reg and birdie or better, and or birdie or better. So Furyk, I like Cantlay. Hadwin shows up a bunch of times all over the place. Yeah, I'm just gonna make lineups based off of the bucket score. Basically, that's all I have. And birdie or better. I think that's another thing I'll look at. So I'm gonna leave the video at that. This is pretty much as close as it was for last preview video. So I'm pretty happy with that. 34 minutes, not bad. Hopefully it provided some insight. I know we really didn't go over swing stats or grass stats, but it just 2019 didn't prove that really mattered. These greens are small, so any of the putts are going to be kind of shorter length anyways. You're gonna want to know POA and how to hit putts. Basically, my opinion, grab golfers that you know, or if you can find some way, you want to find aggressive putters that hit the ball past the hole. So if there's a stat for that, look for that, because you want to hit POA putts firm to try to take out any guesswork of where the ball's going to bounce, basically. It's just like at Torrey Pines, that is, Farmers Insurance Open, we want to target the same kind of golfer. But other than that, we'll go a little bit more in depth with lineup construction during the lineup construction video, which will come out Wednesday. Other than that, thank you for watching, guys. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you Wednesday.